live in front of our naked. I was going to say some David Lee Roth quote. I messed it up. You always used to say when you should do it live before you're naked, steaming eyes or something like that. Old, Van Halen.
Hey guys, yeah. Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host El Young, and we are here with the brilliant Charlie from Aftermath. So welcome, Charlie.
Thank you for having me. Great to talk to you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So Charlie, could you introduce yourself and what you do within Aftermath?
Yeah, I'm the singer. My name is Kyriakos Charlie Cholas. Most people call me Charlie though, and we're a Chicago thrash metal band that formed in 1985 but broke up in 1996, and we reunited in 2015.
Yeah, cool.
So we had a
Cool.
long.
Yeah.
We're about to release our
Uh,
third
so,
album.
Sweet. Let's get into some questions. As a kid, what were you listening to?
Well, as a kid, the first thing I really like, I know I listened to music before I chose it, but I'm talking about probably when I was about 66, 7 years old, like 6 or 7 years old is when I got obsessed with Kiss. And I got my first album that I ever bought, that I ever said, like I had money at 7 years old, but when you get money from birthdays or whatever, that I bought was Kiss Rock and Roll Over. And that changed everything. I mean, from the moment I listened to that and Kiss, I just fell in love with like hard rock and heavy metal. And they were the entry, even though Kiss, I liked up until a certain point. They were the beginning, the first years of your listening, especially that first album, Rock and Roll Over, that I got, is vital to me. And being in music today. If it wasn't for that, who knows what I would have been doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So who actually got you into music? Was it a family member? Was it like older sibling or a friend, or was it just like did you get into it yourself?
Like who got me into music? Who pointed me that way? It's weird because I don't have an older brother, and my parents came here from Greece. I came here when I was 9 months old to Chicago. So it's not like I had older friends, all my friends were my age from school. So, and I was the one that always got into none of my friends got me into anything. And I don't know how I got into Kiss. I know I had an older cousin. They had vinyl records in their bedroom, and I always used to look through them, in a crate, looking through vinyl. But they didn't even like Kiss. So they had like 1,000 albums. They only had maybe, I think, one Kiss album, maybe one. But just looking at the album covers, they didn't play me music or nothing, because you know how your parents take you to houses to visit and you're a kid and you're bored, and they weren't around because they were older, So I just sit there, look at their records. That's the first time I remember seeing album covers. But I don't know how I got into it. I mean, and plus the neighborhood I grew up in Chicago, Kiss and rock and roll weren't popular. It was all disco. So in that particular neighborhood when I moved to where I live now in 8th grade, when I was like 12 years old or whatever, this neighborhood was all rock kids. So I thought I died and went to heaven, because I remember in school, one kid had a UFO hat on. Kids were talking about AC/DC and all these bands. In the neighborhood I left, the biggest band was this band called Chic, and they had that song Freak Out. And Donna Summer and the Bee Gees. It was the disco sucks era. And so there was nobody even my school that was even into rock. So I think I probably seen the album cover. They look like superheroes. Got it and just loved it on my own like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my parents listened to Greek music, so they didn't know anything about English music,
Yeah. Yeah. So who actually inspired you to become a musician? Was it somebody like Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley, or was it somebody?
No. It was Ace Frehley.
Israeli.
Yeah, not you. I wanted to be a guitar player early on. Yeah. That's why I even have. I don't know if you can see back there. There's that. See that guitar? It's like
Yeah.
Ace Frehley, the Sunburst. I got that when I was a little kid because of Ace. But so it's definitely Ace. But again, yeah, they made me want to be in a band because even then I had this fake band called Blackjack, not the Michael Bolton band because there's a Blackjack that he was in. And I remember we made fake little flyers that we were doing a show in 1978, and we had our faces drawn like dice and stuff. So they made me want to be in a band. But even though it's weird because you, as a kid, you didn't think you could be Kiss because they were like superheroes. So they weren't real. But then it seemed like it was years then. But right after Kiss, the next band was Van Halen. And I still love Van Halen. Kiss, I don't listen to that much anymore. But Van Halen really got me into it to want to play in a band, to just love it. And then after that, it's Iron Maiden and Slayer, and it got heavier and heavier, because we're a thrash band, and we actually formed in 1985 when thrash metal was in its infant stage. Like Slayer had Show No Mercy out, Metallica had Kill 'Em All, Anthrax had Fistful of Metal. So none of those albums were even full on thrash until Slayer became like a real straight through thrash band, really on Rain and Blood, where every song was like super fast and you didn't have no traditional metal influences, So when we came out in '85, the influence for the band was the underground metal scene to make an album that's all thrash, songs that are all like hit the lights. Metallica had slower songs. We wanted to make songs that were all like the fast ones,
Yeah. Yeah. So, were you in any bands prior to Aftermath, or was it just Aftermath?
There was a band before with our drummer in Aftermath. We played some covers and stuff, but we never did a show. And there was four guys, bass, guitar, vocals, and drums. But we were doing like Iron Maiden songs and Judas Priest and stuff like that. And we had one original song called Medieval Man, but we never recorded it. I wish we did. And we never really named the band. We never came up with a name. And that was the first time I played with other people's music, And then so really it's Aftermath, That real band, because the other one there wasn't even a name for it, and we just did covers.
Yeah. So, what has Aftermath been up to, especially over the last couple of years?
Well, like I said, in 2015, we reunited because we got offered to go to Germany and play Headbangers Open Air Festival. We went and did that, and then we got another offer to do a show here in Chicago called Ragnarok Fest, and it was only just to do those festivals and a couple shows because we hadn't played together since 1996. So somehow you can't put it into words, but when we started getting together in the basement to rehearse for those shows, I don't know where we were writing songs like they were just pouring out of us. I mean, it wasn't even like, it's not like we rehearsed in the old days 4 times a week. We rehearsed maybe once a week if we could, maybe 2 times a month. And yet somehow we came up with our second album. There was something wrong out of nowhere without even realizing it, because I was recording stuff at practice. And after a while I go, hey guys, man, do you guys realize we got enough songs for an album here? We didn't even realize it. They go, no way. And then it just happened so weird and so fast that we decided to stick together and make more music. And plus, I think it's like also we have a message. My lyrics have a certain specific message. Like the album "There Is Something Wrong" is a concept record about how the world really operates and how we're under the influence of major propaganda and major deception, and how we don't even know the history, we basically don't know anything. They've hoarded all the important information and they've put it, it's almost like we're living in the Truman Show, you know what I mean? It's almost like it's a fake world and we know what they want us to know. And what's reported through the television, through all mass media, it's all lies and bullshit agendas. And the message is to wake people up, to show them what, like even who prints the money, the Federal Reserve, like thing that everybody uses in their pocket. That's what we live by, right? The money, right? Most people don't even know that institution, the Federal Reserve, is owned by 6 families, and it's all a deception. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's just like it's a scam. It's all to create debt, so you can become debt slaves. So you can be under the system of working and basically working and dying. The birth certificate talks about it covers all the topics that some people call conspiracy topics, but to me, if somebody calls you a conspiracy theorist or something like that, that's a compliment. That to me is like, that's a person that wants to know the truth. He doesn't buy. First of all, how could you not be that if you got a brain? Because everything that they tell you, you'd have to have no common sense to believe it.
Yeah, cool. So you mentioned that you released an album called There Is Something Wrong. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's the second album. My first album came out in 1994. But the second album is When We Were United. It came out in 2019. And again, it's a concept record about the way the world works. And believe it or not, even when I mentioned Pink Floyd, Animals, that album has the same concept. That's why the songs on Animals is dogs, sheep, and the sheep are the people, the dogs are the police, and the pigs are the government and stuff. So it's how the world works. It's how the deception happens and how to break out of it. Because it's not just like pointing out all the problems. This is bad. This is bad. You got to have solutions, I think, And I believe that riots and violence and going out in the street and protesting against the government, that doesn't work. I think the only thing that could work, and it's trying to explain it through the record, is knowing who's in control. That's all it takes. It's almost like unveiling the enemy. You know what I mean? Like the Wizard of Oz. If you know that guy's controlling everything, you don't need to go and beat him up and kill him. If you know he's doing it, he won't be able to do it anymore. You won't partake in their system.
Yeah.
Like voting.
Yeah. You've just the band's just released a new single called "No Time to Waste."
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's the title track for the next album, and it's you could tell it's urgent. It's like telling you the first words say a world of confusion, a world in distress. It's a continuation of There Is Something Wrong, the second album, but it's mostly all solution. If there is something wrong, pointed out more problems, answers, but this is all like how to break free of the spell and how we should all come together as one, because us 99%, all of us, not the 1% around the world, all the rest of us, we should all care for each other. We're all equal. I don't care if you're black, white, Indian, Mexican, Greek, whatever. We're all the exact same thing. We're all human beings. I mean, the skin color means nothing, We're being divided on purpose. Like we should, and this album's like saying, come together, find out who's casting the spell, who your enemy is against us all, and then let's work on a world that's all full of equality and unity for real. Like a place where it should be, like where we could where I feel like us as human beings are we've been suppressed. We haven't been taught the important things, how to live off of nature. They've taken us away from how we're really supposed to be. Like we're eating junk food all the time, and we're inside watching TV and computers. You got to how to become one with nature. You got to go outside and soak in the sun and walk barefoot on dirt and live like humans were meant to live, not this imprisoned cities we're in.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about the new album?
It's all about the unity of the 99%.
Yeah.
And it's it's 10 songs with one cover song. There's one song, a John Lennon song on there called "Give Peace a Chance." So a 10-song album, and we made it like the length of the classic hard rock and heavy metal albums of the 70s and 80s, where they were like about 35 minutes long. You know what I mean? Like whether it's like a Van Halen album, an AC/DC album, or a Black Sabbath album, all those albums were about a half hour long, you know? And it's the perfect, that's what got me, you know, those are the albums that got us all into the music. And those albums were so great. And it just sucks when the CDs came out, the albums became 17 songs long and too much, you know what I mean? Too much. It just, even if it's a great album, you kind of lose it after that much of tracks on one CD or whatever, you know? So, and it's going to come out in January.
Cool. That was I was going to ask about. When was it going to be released? So
there's another coming out. There's another song coming out before that, in December, late December or whatever, called Transform and Disrupt. So that's going to be the second song before the album out.
Yeah, cool. Cool. The new album's coming out in January. Are you in the process of planning a tour of the US and Canada, or are you going to be touring over in Europe?
Well, we're going to do a show, our first show since we haven't done one since that COVID shit, and it'll be in December 10th next month here in Chicago, and then when the album comes out and you know the whole next year begins. Then we'll see what kind of offers we get and everything. We kind of want to we're thinking about going to South America for some metal festival down there, but it'd be great if we could just do like not just full tours for weeks, you know, and playing places don't matter. Just a lot of shows, but not in a stretch of a tour, you know, like festivals. We'll go to Europe. We'll go anywhere as long as it's a good offer, you know. We want to go everywhere. We just don't want to be in a van for weeks, like, because we're not little kids, you know, not to do that. And there's no point in doing that anyways now, you know, because like the music gets around, like just having our songs on Spotify and YouTube without any touring, they're doing pretty good, the number wise, you know, so they're getting out there on their own, you know, so we feel like with another single and then more work on that, and then the third single after the album, then we'll really know exactly where we're going to play. Because what I'm trying to say is, you know, where people are listening. You know, It breaks it down to what cities, what countries, and everything, and then we'll be able to evaluate and what kind of offers there. Because lately, it seems like our dream is always to play in Europe. That's where we want to play, right? But a lot of bands like Anthrax recently and everything have been canceling their European tours because the money, it's just not worth it. I guess the dollar's so even, it doesn't make it, they can't do it. They'll lose money if they go there, you know? So let's see what happens with all that. And this is happening now, you know, where bands are canceling mainland European tours and stuff like that.
Yeah. So where can people find you on social media? You mentioned that you're on Spotify and YouTube. But
Spotify, Apple Music, all those places, whatever they're called. You know, there's a million, you know, all the names. But it's on all the digital, whatever electronic jukebox, you know, like Spotify's, all those, and also, well, obviously YouTube, and then you know we got a Twitter page, Instagram page, and the only one I'm always the one I pay attention to myself personally is the Facebook page. You know, all the other ones are handled by the other guys in the band or the management. You know, but so if anybody wants to write to the band, like, hit up the Facebook page first.
Yeah. So this is probably going to be sort of like my last question. Is any advice for people who wanted to become a musician?
Yeah, just do it if you only love it, like for the pure reasons that you don't think about rock stardom or money. You just want to play your music, and you love music that much, because that's a major difference, you know. And if you do it and you get lucky and you get to play with other people and form a band or whatever, or you record your own music, just make sure that the people that do the business side of music just want nothing more than rip you off. It doesn't, I mean, you could be Michael Jackson, you could have been the Beatles. It doesn't matter who you were. Before even the Beatles or the Stones became gigantic, they were ripped off all the way there. They only got the few bands that became like multimillionaire rock stars. You know how much money they got ripped? They got ripped off a million times more money than they actually have. So just be aware that anything you sign or anything pertaining to the business side of it, make sure be careful with that. Don't, because it hasn't ended. It goes to this day, and everybody needs to be aware that you're going into a world where the main thing is they want to rob you. Never sell your publishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's how you make your money. First of all, like a lot of bands will sign record deals and sign over their publishing, and that's the money. The publishing is where you make your money. Just be careful.
Yeah, sound advice. Anyway, Charlie, thank you so much for coming on and doing this.
Thank you very much, man, for having me.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Hopefully, one day we can play in England, and we can maybe have some pints of beer together.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You British guys always sound more sophisticated. Everything you guys say sounds better than our accent. Like we always sound stupid next to British people.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, I don't. It's just you don't hear your accent, but your accent's it's just a cool accent.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, let you get off, and guys, go check out Aftermath. They are an amazing band from Chicago, so go check them out.
Thanks a lot, man. And then everybody, look for the new album in January. No time to waste.
Yeah. Go check them out. They are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thanks a lot, bro. Thanks a lot, man. It was great speaking to you. And then we'll talk soon.
You too. Oh, yes, right. Most definitely.
All right, signing off.